the number 8 seed, the Magic, play the number 1 seed Bucks. What's the key to this series?
Can the Orlando Magic keep up with the firepower of the Milwaukee Bucks? That's going to be one of the keys to the series for me. And I want to see if they can be able to score enough points to stay in these games. You know, I like what they're doing. I like the fact that they're in the playoffs. They're a team that's on the come up. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens with them in future seasons to come. But the biggest question for me is going to be whether or not they can keep up with the firepower for the Milwaukee Bucks. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo. You still got Eric Bledsoe also as well, a perimeter guard who created his own shot. You got Chris Middleton, who's played very well so far in the bubble for the Milwaukee Bucks. And, you know, Lopez as well, he's been playing nice basketball for the Bucks, contributing offensively. And they have a great coach in Mike Budenholzer. So the question for me is, and one of the keys for me in this series is going to be if the Magic can keep up with the firepower of the Milwaukee Bucks, Clarence.
Nah, man. For me, though, I think the Magic, though, they was, you know, they was like tall and they was balanced. They was balanced. I would give them that, though. For Aaron Gordon, they were just a big team. The team was big. Like, you know, unfortunately, Jonathan Isaac, he had to go down with an injury, the knee injury, and that hurt the team bad because he stretched the floor too. Mo Bamba's a good defender. He's stretching the floor. Aaron Gordon is also a good defender when he's going to the basket. And Vucic, he's an old school cat. He played old school ball, but he still contributes to the team. But for me, it's
how has Markelle Fultz been playing?
He was playing solid. He was playing solid though. But this one you can really look at him and see how he gonna perform in the playoffs. But to me though, if they can create that wall to stop Giannis, they might have a chance. But like you said, it's too much Milwaukee, man. It's too much Milwaukee.
Yeah, they ain't got no chance, Clarence. Here, look, let's just get right to it. Do you think they have any chance of stealing a game from the Milwaukee Bucks?
Believe it or not, you know, if a team they're down 3-0, I think they can win. They can steal one game. But I arguably believe like Milwaukee can close them out in 5 games.
5? Wow. No, I got it being a clean gentleman sweep. The Milwaukee Bucks will sweep the Orlando Magic in the first round of the playoffs. Here's something to keep in mind, Clarence. If this series was played in Orlando, and they wasn't in a bubble, I would give the Magic a shot at winning a game in Orlando going up against the Milwaukee Bucks. You know, a game 3 or a game 4 in a playoff series. But because they're in a bubble and there's no, you know, crowd and there's no fans, I don't think they have a snowball chance in hell at stealing the game from Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. I got Bucks in 4 in a gentleman sweep. What you got? Bucks in 5?
Yeah, I got Bucks in 5, man. I got Bucks in 5.
All right, let's move on to the 3-6 matchup. We got the Philadelphia 76ers going up against the Boston Celtics. Give me your keys to this series.
Oh, I'm gonna be honest with you. Tobias Harris, he got paid to be a superstar, an elite superstar, right? He's honestly supposed to be the second option on the 76ers team because he got paid to do that, and he's a good scorer. He lost a lot of weight, and he started developing to be a good scorer. Now, this is his time to lead his team. I think the keys to this series is, though, can Tobias Harris lead his team without the 2 stars, then Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons? Because he's considered another star on that team. And if they want to be alive in this series, he has to show up. But for this Celtics team, they have on and off games, though. But I still believe the Celtics go take it here, though. No. Now, I think the Celtics going to take it here. For the Celtics, Jason Tatum got to find his rhythm, and Jaylen Brown also. And Kemba, you gotta just watch to see what you get from Kemba.
Yeah, the keys to this series, for me, one of the keys is going to be the Boston Celtics getting Kemba Walker into a rhythm. That's what I would aim for if I was the head coach of the Boston Celtics. If I was Brad Stevens, I would want to get Kemba Walker into a rhythm because you're going to need Kemba Walker when you get farther in the playoffs to play at an elite level. I would try to work Kemba back into being a quality player and being able to put up 20 to 25 points a night. You know, Kemba Walker been dealing with injuries since he's been in the bubble. He's been on a limits restriction clearance. If I'm Brad Stevens and that coaching staff for the Boston Celtics, I'm trying to get my star point guard into a rhythm offensively so I can utilize him as we get farther in the playoffs. So that's one of the keys for me for the Boston Celtics. For the Philadelphia 76ers, I think they need to lock in defensively and do everything that they can to try to force other players to beat you that are not named Jason Tatum. So I love Jaylen Brown and what he's been doing so far in the bubble, but I'd rather him beat me than Jason Tatum. So if I was Brett Brown, the Sixers, I would try to force the ball out of Jason Tatum's hands and have Gordon Hayward or Jaylen Brown beat me. They're more than capable of doing it, but I would make sure that I wouldn't let Jason Tatum, a superstar on the come up, beat me in this series. And you said one of my keys as well, Tobias Harris. They paid Tobias Harris in the offseason. This is a moment for Tobias Harris to show why he's one of the top paid players we have in the NBA. He got a nice contract in the offseason, Clarence, a contract that I thought the Sixers overpaid for. But they gave him the money nevertheless. Therefore, in a moment like this, even if the Sixers come up short, which they will, I want to see Tobias Harris put on a nice performance and at least put up 20 to 25 points per game in this series and show why he is a top 3 option on this team scoring-wise.
All right, I like that question. But let's move on, though, Trey. So we got the 7th seed Brooklyn Nets against the number 2
Clarence.
seed.
Hold on. We got to give our predictions. Oh. You going too far. What's your prediction?
For me, I got Boston in 5.
5?
Yeah, Boston in 5.
Why are you giving the Sixers a game?
Because the Sixers, though, I think they go win one at home. And like I said, Boston have on and off games. And that they might have an off game, probably a away game. The first 2 games is in Boston. But so game 3 or 4 might be the ones you have to watch to see how they're playing. That's why I said I give Philly 1.
I disagree. I got the Celtics also in the gentleman's sweep. If the Boston Celtics, if the Boston Celtics are legitimate championship contenders, like I say they are, with 4 great players who can create out the dribble, and Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward, and Jason Tatum, I believe you are supposed to put out the Philadelphia 76ers in 4 games. I think the Boston Celtics should impose their will on these Sixers. Therefore, the Sixers, as the series goes along, Clarence, they're going to lose confidence. I think they're going to be too much for the Sixers to overcome. So I got the Celtics with the gentleman's sweep in 4.
Okay. All right. Let's all right. Damn, that's another sweep right there. But let's move on to the 7th seed Brooklyn Nets, the number 2 seed, man. So you got keys to the series? Any keys to the series?
I would say one of the keys to the series is going to be if LeVert can consistently play as a number 1 option for the Brooklyn Nets. If he plays like he did last night against the Portland Trailblazers, Clarence, I believe it's a chance the Nets can steal a game from the Toronto Raptors. Also, for the Toronto Raptors, I want to see if Siakam is ready to take on that role of being a number 1 option for a championship contender. We got to see it. Last year, he had the luxury of being a co-star with Kawhi Leonard. This year, Siakam is the man. Therefore, when you're the man, high expectations come with that responsibility. I want to see if Siakam is going to play like a true number 1 option for the Toronto Raptors, and I want to see if he's going to rise above the situation and put the Toronto Raptors in a situation where they can possibly compete and get to the finals. But those are my keys. Siakam proving himself to try to be a number 1, and LeVert consistently, playing at a high level for the Brooklyn Nets.
See, I'm going to disagree with you, man. I think Toronto is going to be too much for this Brooklyn Nets team. And this Raptors team is well developed all around. They're a balanced team offensively and defensively. Yeah, I think Toronto is going to be too much. And Siakam, him and Kyle Lowry, they already been through these situations. And when Lowry gets rolling, it gets bad. And him and Siakam, it's going to be too much to them. And they got OG Anunoby back, a 3-and-D player. Nah, man, I got Toronto beating them, man. Toronto is easy.
Why'd you disagree with me? I didn't never pick the Brooklyn Nets to win the series.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I just think for the Brooklyn Nets, for Caris LeVert, it's gonna be too much for him because it's gonna be in the playoffs. He in the playoffs? It's gonna be different feeling, and they have a nice setup, but it just for the Raptors, it's gonna be too much for them. Kyle Lowry, he knows how to do in these situations, and it's gonna be too much for him though. I just believe that Kyle Lowry is a mastermind of when he on the court, he can manipulate guards.
How you got in how many games?
I got Toronto in 5. Honestly, I got Toronto in 5 games. I think they're gonna steal one game, but they might steal that game on the road, but it's a higher chance they won't.
What
but
road?
I think
there ain't nobody on the road in the bubble. What are you talking about?
I mean, yeah, my bad. I'm typing that mindset that they be on the road, but I think they gonna take one game that was towards the end, like game 4, man. That's all I'm saying.
See, I think if it gets to a situation where the Raptors are up 3-0, I don't see Brooklyn stealing the game. I think if they want to have any chance of stealing the game, it has to be the game 1 through 3. It can't be game 4. I got the Raptors in 5-2. I'm going to give the Brooklyn Nets a game out of respect because they've been playing nice basketball since we've been in the bubble clearance, and this series will be much different if Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were playing. We both know that. Let's move on to a series that has had history. The Indiana Pacers and the Miami Heat, they have had many, many playoff battles in the past, Clarence, with LeBron and Paul George. But now we got T.J. Warren versus Jimmy Butler. Give me your keys to this series.
Look, I know we all hype about T.J. Warren and Jimmy Butler, but that's gonna be what the biggest one we gonna be watching for. We gonna see how can these guys is gonna put all that trash talking into this playoff game. But the matchup I'm gonna be really watching though is Victor Oladipo and how he does with these guards. And another one, Bam Adebayo versus Miles Turner. I think that's gonna be a good one too because he can stretch the floor. And Miles Turner, he's a good defender. So I want to see how they gonna match up with each other. But for T.J. Warren and Jimmy Butler, that should be a hard nose right there, playing against each other right there. I think that's gonna be a good one. But you're gonna be surprised of my pick.
One of my keys in this series is going to be if the Indiana Pacers can contain the Miami Heat's perimeter shooting. The Miami Heat shoot the perimeter shot very well, Clarence. And I want to see if the Pacers can contain the Miami Heat's perimeter shooting. If the Miami Heat shoot the lights out, I don't see this series going very long. Honestly, if they are shooting the 3 very well, you can't stop them. They're unstoppable. So we'll see what happens. But that's one of my keys. Can the Indiana Pacers defensively slow down the perimeter shooting of the Miami Heat? They're more than capable of being able to do it. Because Nate McMillan, as a head coach, he always has the Indiana Pacers playing hard. If you notice, every single year when the Pacers get into the playoffs, Clarence, although they may not go far, they play hard. Can you give them that credit? You agree with that?
Yeah, they play hard, and they're a smart basketball team.
They're a smart basketball team, and they're the kind of team to where you have to beat them. They're not going to beat themselves.
Yeah, but then at the same time, that type of team, they have to find the players that can score, and they did in T.J. Warren. And T.J. Warren, he just surprisingly start going crazy in this bubble, and I think that's a good start that he did. But this matchup, though, yeah, they got to stop the 3-point shooters that Miami Heat has.
Yes, I completely agree. So they have to do that.
So let me ask you this though. So who you have winning and how many games?
I think, Clarence, this is one of the few series in the first round that has a high possibility of going 7 games. It's going to go 7 games, and it's hard for me to pick in this matchup, but I'm going to roll with Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat in a nail-biter in a Game 7. I think this series is going to go the distance. I think the Indiana Pacers are going to play the Miami Heat tough, and I think it's going to be a long series. But I think Eric Spoelstra's experience as a head coach and Jimmy Butler, him being the star that he is, he's going to rise above the occasion and make plays for the Miami Heat in Game 7 of the first round in this series. I like Jimmy Butler over T.J. Warren and Oladipo in this series in 7.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I like Miami in this one. I think they have the better players and a better 3-point shooter than them. And I truly believe that this team is a good balanced team offensively and defensively. And I think once they hit their peak, it's gonna be on from there. But I got Miami in 6 games and the Heat in 6.
So you giving the Pacers 2 games?
Yeah, I'm giving the Pacers 2 games because I think all that pressure hits them. They're not gonna be focused on themselves. But I got Miami in 6, man. Jimmy Butler, you can't sleep on him, man, in the playoffs.